We are live. In this video, we are going to be ranking a bunch of side hustles. It's going to be 29 different side hustles that we're going to be ranking. And I have a little chart here made on Canva, and we're going to be ranking them all from S tier being the highest all the way down to the homeless tier, which are side hustles that I would honestly only do if I was homeless. And for the side hustles that we're going to be putting up in S tier, the qualifications for them to make it up to there is they need to be scaled up to from $0 to $5,000 a month in 1 year. Side hustles that I think could realistically go from 0 to 5K a month as a business in a single year. And we're going to be jumping right into it because I want people who are rewatching this stream to be able to enjoy this as a regular video. All questions, any type of super chats, although they're not expected whatsoever, are going to be held off until the end. So with that being said, drop a like on this live stream if you guys are excited for it. We've already got 11 people in here, so super excited. And with that being said, we're going to be ranking some side hustles. So the first side hustle that we are going to be ranking to begin with is Uber, driving for Uber. Now, this is a side hustle I personally have not been able to do. Most of the side hustles that we're going to be ranking on this tier list are ones that I have personal experience with. So with that being said, I've talked to quite a few Uber drivers since for my Turo business, I frequently have to take Uber rides when I'm delivering cars to the airport or the train station. So I talk to these people, ask how much they're actually making. And a lot of Uber drivers seem to make pretty good money. Now, obviously, this is a super active method for making money. It's a good side hustle or full-time gig even, but you're going to have to put a lot of hours in if you want to realistically make anything. But the nice thing about it is you get to pick your own hours. You're kind of your own boss in a way, even though Uber's taking about 30% of the income you make. And on top of that, a lot of Uber drivers are also like renting vehicles from like Lyft or Uber, and they take an additional percentage of your income if you decide to rent a car from them. So a lot of Uber drivers don't make a ton of money when everything's said and done, but it is a decent side hustle, low barrier to entry. If you need money quick, it's not really the worst way to make it. So I'm going to put it in B tier. I'm going to be holding all questions or anything until the end. So if you guys have any comments or anything about how I'm rating these side hustles, I'm happy to respond to it later. That's why I decided to do it live. Now, I'm just going to quickly check on the chat to make sure that you guys are able to hear me well. Everything seems to be good. Will this video be posted on your channel? The answer to that is yes. You guys will be able to watch the replay, but it'll be in the live stream section. Next up, we are going to be ranking Lime scooters. Now, this is a side hustle I actually do have experience with. In 2022, I remember I was like between videos trying to figure out what video I wanted to make next. And I spent some time in downtown Austin since that's where I lived at the time. And I saw these guys with a pickup truck just loading a bunch of electric scooters into the back of the truck. And I was like, oh, they're clearly doing the Lime scooter side hustle. So I go up to them and I'm like, hey, would you mind if I get your contact info? Because I make videos about side hustles and I'd love to interview you. I'd love to do some content with you. And they ended up letting me, shadow them for a day. And then later in the video, I also gave the side hustle a try for myself. I rented a huge U-Haul truck and I spent a night in downtown Austin collecting a bunch of scooters. I charged it at a shed they had where they had a bunch of charging ports for electric scooters. So I brought all the scooters there and eventually brought them back out to the city a few hours later after they charged. And I was talking to the guy who ran the whole operation. He had a few people charging under him since he was like the top of the pyramid, I guess. It's not a pyramid scheme, but he was the top guy. And then he had some people who were like working under him. And he was earning about $700 a day on the account. Now, that was revenue, not profit. But after everything's said and done, he was making several $1,000s just charging electric scooters. And he had it to a point where he was making money even when he wasn't necessarily actively working since he had some people under him. You guys got to check that video out if you want to learn more about it. I'll be sure to link it in the description. But with that said, I'm going to rate electric scooters at, I'm going to put it at the same level as Uber, honestly, B tier. It's still very active, but it's a pretty good side hustle. Decent way to make money. Now, a lot of these side hustles that we're going to be ranking throughout this tier list are going to be really dependent because, for some people, they're going to have a lot of success with eBay, Amazon, being a YouTuber, whereas other people aren't going to have as much success with it. So It's honestly skill dependent, like anything. If you're not good at something, and you're not passionate about something, you're probably not going to be successful with it. Like for me, the side hustles I found the most success with is stuff that I'm genuinely interested in, because that way I'm able to like push through the difficulty that comes with starting a new business. So a lot of that is just going to be about your perseverance level and how much you enjoy the concept of the hustle as we talk about these different opportunities. But next up, we're going to be ranking selling on eBay. Now, there's a few methods for selling on eBay. You can use it as a way to resell items. You can use it to drop ship. You can use it to sell stuff in bulk from China and then ship it to your house and resell it. You can do a lot of different stuff on eBay. I've been lucky enough to try pretty much all three methods. I also know of people who will go to like thrift shops or buy pallets and resell the items on eBay. It's a really good side hustle. It's honestly one of the best e-commerce platforms for beginners. It's much easier to sign up for than a place like Amazon. You don't need as much startup capital to get started on eBay than other e-com platforms. You don't need to spend money on advertising like you have to do with Shopify. So I'm going to put eBay in A tier. It's not quite S tier, but it's an A tier side hustle. I know some people who are making good money on eBay. I've in the past had pretty successful eBay businesses. I still do a little bit of eBay drop shipping today. It's something I want to, make another video on for you guys soon to show you guys more about. And again, if you have any questions about these hustles, we'll be answering them at the end of this live stream. But next up, we are going to be ranking Instacart. Now, this is a side hustle I've also been lucky enough to try. The last time I did it was back in 2021. Now, this was kind of an interesting period of my life. At the time, I was still in college. I was doing YouTube videos. I just moved to my first apartment. And I remember I flew out to California over like a weekend or like for a 4-day period. And I filmed some videos with Reyes, the entrepreneur. He is a side hustle YouTuber. He was huge back in like 2019, 2020. He still makes content to this day, but he does a lot of other things as well. But I was super excited to do a video with him because he was kind of like a hero of mine. Like in high school, I watched his videos all the time and he motivated me to like really get started with my channel. So we went out, we tried Instacart because he had an account, and we did some deliveries from Total Wine. I remember we got a bunch of like wine because someone ordered it and then delivered it to the customer. We did a little bit of shopping as well. And overall, I think it's a pretty good side hustle. I don't have DoorDash on this list. I just realized I don't have DoorDash on here, and I would put DoorDash pretty low, but I put Instacart above it. So we're going to put Instacart between C and D tier. And I'll explain why. I'm going to put it. So DoorDash, I would probably put in D tier. I would put Instacart probably a D plus, like a little bit higher. And the reason for it is Uber, I feel Uber and even Lime, I feel like you're getting more per hour based on my experience doing it. Like with Uber, you have a lot of opportunity to earn extra tips, in my opinion, because if you're a really cool guy, I'm always inclined to tip someone a little bit more. If someone's picking me up from the airport, if they're like offering to like put their bags in their, like put my bags in their trunk, like giving me good service, asking if I want water or a drink while I'm in the Uber, it's, you have a lot of opportunities to make extra money because you're dealing with people like in a customer service environment. And with Lime, you're kind of able to make it a little bit more passive since you just have to collect scooters, charge them, and then bring them back out on the street. So you can kind of systemize Lime a bit more to make profit. Whereas Instacart, you're literally shopping for someone, you're exchanging your time for money directly. Not to say it's the worst side hustle. That's why it's not an F or homeless tier, but I'm going to put it as a D plus. Next, Shopify dropshipping. Now, there's a lot of people who make absolutely no money dropshipping, and there's a lot of people who make a ton of money dropshipping. I actually have friends personally that I know have stores in the e-commerce space that do really well. A lot of them are like in the beauty space or, different niches, and just like the craziest products you'd never think would be successful do super well in these dropshipping stores. I think the key is to like niche down into something specific, sell a product that people aren't just selling at Walmart or Amazon already, something kind of unique and a product that not everyone has seen before. So dropshipping has gotten a lot harder throughout the years. I remember in like 2017, people were selling, basic products like fake AirPods and scaling stores to $100,000 per month. I don't really think that's the case anymore with dropshipping. You really have to focus on like building a brand for yourself and like actually, I'm checking the chat right now to make sure the audio is good. But yeah, you have to focus on like actually building a brand when you're doing this. It's not as simple as just like selling a random product from China anymore. But just because of the opportunity with drop shipping, it's like really you could sell a store, you could sell a brand once you scale it up. I have a friend who he started a brand new store in January of this year, and he scaled it up to doing about $90,000 a month. I think he's going to finish the year at about six to $700,000 in revenue. I did a video with him. His name is Tropic. I want to do an update video with him really bad, but he's been kind of staying off YouTube and social media a bit. So it's going to take some convincing. Please DM Tropic. We'll talk about this later after the stream and encourage him to do a video with me. But I'd love to learn more about drop shipping, speak to people who are successful with it. I've had plenty of experience with drop shipping myself. But with that said, I'm going to put it in A tier. There's going to be a lot of people who fail, but it's, you got to be smart. Like none of these businesses are for dumbasses. You have to have some type of grit and willingness to, problem solve, right? So with that said, we're going to do a funny one next. We're going to do steak, gambling on steak. Huh. Well, I just thought I'd put some funny side hustles or literally just straight up gambling opportunities in this tier list just to be a little bit satire and funny. But we're gonna put steak in F tier because obviously in the end the house always wins. I'm not gonna put it in homeless tier because I have some side hustles that fit perfectly for that. But F tier is a side hustle that I'd basically never do no matter what. Homeless tier is I'd never do no matter what. But if I was homeless, satire and jokingly, it would be on the table. That's kind of how I'm doing it. But F tier for steak because in the end, the house always wins. It's okay to gamble. Personally, I don't think it's a terrible thing to do as long as you're doing it in moderation. Like sometimes I like to go to the casino with $100, $200, but if I lose it, obviously it's not the end of the world for me. If you're gambling with your last $200, horrible idea. That's my opinion on gambling. Some people choose to stay away from it completely, and that's probably your best bet. Realistically, it's just like with like drinking, alcohol, anything. Like your best bet is probably to stay away from it completely. But if you decide to indulge in something like a vice, definitely do it in moderation, which not everyone can do. But next, we are going to be ranking Etsy. Now, this is a side hustle I'm currently doing right now. I'm trying to scale up my own Etsy store, selling products from AliExpress. I'm doing a drop shipping store right now. I'm making a video about it at the moment, and it's been going decently. I've been experimenting with Etsy ads quite a bit. So we're going to put Etsy in A tier. You're going to notice that a lot of these like e-commerce side hustles, I'm going to put in A tier, not quite S tier because there's a high failure rate. But if you have a good idea and a good product, again, if you're selling something that people are interested in and you're even like doing some additional marketing for yourself, like let's say you're someone on Etsy and you're really good at painting or making handmade stuff, it's a great platform to sell something. And especially if you're marketing it from like social media, you could do really well. I've seen people even sell like spreadsheets or like accounting software on Etsy, and it does super well. I've even thought about like maybe putting like my Turo spreadsheet on Etsy for $5, and it's a great way that people could purchase it. You make some extra money. It's a good avenue. And I've been interested in trying the digital product side of Etsy where, you're doing, those kind of services for people. But what do you guys have to say about it? Steak will make you homeless. Everyone's saying homeless tier for steak. You know what? I think we could move steak down to homeless tier. Honestly, I know I explained my F tier, but I think gambling is a pretty terrible idea. And I definitely don't want to encourage people to gamble. So I think we should probably put that all the way at the bottom. That said, we're going to move into a fun one now. I will probably talk about this a little bit later, more in depth, but we are going to put Turo. For me personally, it's probably an A tier for most people, maybe even a B tier. So I'm going to put it in A tier. I wanted to put it in S tier because for me personally, I would put it in S tier because I love renting cars on Turo. It is such a fun side hustle for me because I like the passive aspect of it. You can buy a car for $5,000 to $7,000, rent it out, make $1,000 a month. Those are like the perfect Turo cars to buy. I've had some experience with that. I've had some bad Turo cars that I've, not necessarily made a ton of money on. I'm going to put Turo in A tier. And it's a funny story because the car rental game is kind of sketchy. There's a lot of like bad actors in the space, not just people who, rent cars on Turo, but people who, are renting out supercars, especially, seem to be like very scammy. Like I recently saw that this guy, Ethan Duran, ended up getting exposed by a pretty famous Instagram page called Baller Busters. And it's funny because I thought the guy was legit. I'd seen quite a bit of his content and he seemed like he was killing it in the supercar rental game. But turns out he got evicted from his New York apartment for not paying $300,000 in rent. He had a civil case where he owed a friend, like, I might get the numbers wrong on this, so I'm not exactly sure. It was like over $100 or $200,000 that he owed a friend. So like it turned out that this guy probably isn't as rich as he says he is, or at least like the court documents kind of seem to point that he isn't quite as successful as he portrays on social media, like showing a Bugatti. Like he even had some of his like assets seized according to the Baller Busters page. So I was like, bruh, this guy like showed that he was super legit, but turns out he's kind of a bad actor from what the evidence is showing. But of course, I don't want to be sued, so none of that is 100% confirmed, but it's just crazy to see like a lot of Turo hosts are like struggling because I think the worst method for Turo is when you finance a bunch of like brand new cars or you buy a bunch of expensive cars. And I've of course made that mistake myself, but not at an insane scale, right? So I've, financed, one car on the fleet and I have 3 cars paid off in cash. I have a few cheap cars that I'm renting out that I bought used. And I think that's probably the best mix for Turo because depreciation is really what kills you. And especially with Turo taking a percentage of your income, it really eats into your margin. So you can't just buy a brand new car like Enterprise would because they have higher margins when they're renting to guests. They're selling them insurance, whereas Turo is getting all of that money when you're renting on Turo. So your best bet is honestly, I'm going to say it is the Aubrey Janique method where you're buying like older cars. You learn a thing or two about how to fix cars and be a mechanic for yourself. And in that case, if you do Turo that way, it's S tier. But because a lot of people are going to be dumbasses, no offense, and do it wrong, I would put it, for them, it would be worse. So we're going to put it in B tier to kind of protect ourselves. But you could say that about pretty much any side hustle. So I'm really debating here. I want to put it in S tier since that's where I'd personally put it, but I think it's going to be A. I think we're going to stick at A tier. Airbnb. Now, this is a fun one. This is a really fun one. There's a few methods you can do Airbnb with. You can, own a property and rent it on Airbnb. I've thought about doing that with my house when I eventually move out because I live 2 miles away from the airport. And I was always thinking I could turn this place into like an airport pad or, for people visiting Milwaukee, it's 10 minutes from downtown. It's, 5 to 10 minutes from the airport. So it's a great, spot for that. I've thought about Airbnb being a property I personally own. I've done the math and I think this house would do about $3,000 to $4,000 a month in bookings. Of course, with Airbnbs, just like if you're doing short-term rentals with cars, you're going to have quite a bit of turnaround expenses. So I think for me to like make it worth it, I would have to do the cleaning. I would not be able to outsource much. I would pretty much be managing it actively for it to be as profitable as, to be more profitable than like a long-term rental. But there are certain properties you can buy that I think would crush it on Airbnb, especially if you live in more of a vacation area. Whereas I live in the Midwest, people don't really visit here. People just live here. So for me, my market, Airbnb is decent, but I would say it's pretty good if you own the property because on top of just like cash flowing on it, you're also building equity in the house, right? So I think it's a good side hustle. The downside of Airbnb and the spot where I see people get burned on Airbnb is when they rent a property and then they re-rent it out on Airbnb. Now, this could be profitable. I've seen people do it. Like my friend J.R. Revis and his friend Phil, they have a company, or they had a company. I think they recently sold it, where they were basically getting clients to lease a house, get an agreement with the landlord that they could rent it on Airbnb. And so they paid the security deposit, first month's rent, and then they would rent that house as a short-term rental and they would basically cash flow on it. Now, obviously, in this case, you're not building equity in the property. It's kind of like Turo, where you kind of have to work against the monthly fee that you're paying to operate in a sense. So I'm going to put Airbnb. I want to put it, again, it's another one that's between A and S tier. I haven't put, I'd have to put more thought into this, but I haven't personally tried it. I think it's real estate. It appreciates over time. It's probably a little bit better than Turo. I'm gonna put it in S tier. I think there's a lot of opportunity for Airbnb, even if you own like a duplex. I've seen people rent out guest houses. There's so many opportunities to make like co-living spaces in like properties you own and then renting out a portion of it to like either subsidize your payment or even cash flow on a property. So I think it's a good side hustle. Of course, you got to be smart with it, but I don't know. This is something I definitely want to try in the future. Just real estate is so dang expensive. Like it's insane. Like I've been wanting to buy another property, but in my area, like to get a house, it's, you could buy cheap houses. I want to do Section 8 as well, but like a lot of the properties, at least in my neighborhood, are like $300,000, and it's a tough game out here. That means you got to put like 60K down if you want to have a rental property. Of course, you can do 3.5% down, live in it for a year, and then rent it out. But with current interest rates, it's a tough game cash flowing, especially with the PMI payment of whatever you have to pay every month, probably $120 a month straight to mortgage insurance. But Amazon. This is another side hustle. I've done a little bit. I've done a little bit of FBA where, you're buying a bunch of, goods, shipping it directly to Amazon. And then when it sells, Amazon fulfills it. I've done the reselling end of that where I've noticed that Amazon tends to have a lot higher priced items than a place like eBay. It's really weird, but I feel like a lot of items on Amazon tend to go for a little bit more money than on eBay, especially in terms of like books and just certain items. Maybe electronics might sell for a little more on Amazon as well. So it has a bit tougher barrier to entry to get into. Like they have high fees for sellers, just like eBay does, honestly. And you might have to pay a little bit to open an Amazon account. If you want to do white label, you're going to need several $1,000s. So I'm going to put Amazon in B tier. And this is me not having tried the white label end of the Amazon services business. I've done a little bit of FBA work. I know my friend Carter Maxwell has done super well with Amazon in the past. So of course, it depends on who you talk to, but I'm going to put Amazon in B tier for me. It's something I've definitely got to learn more about. If I want to be a side hustle expert, I got to look into Amazon white label a bit more. I've tried FBA back in 2021. Carter Maxwell came out to where I live, and we did some trips to thrift stores, and we bought a bunch of books, shipped them to Amazon. And we ended up making like $300 to $400 profit. And we went out for like 2 days to a bunch of thrift stores like throughout Milwaukee and this entire like Southeast Wisconsin area. So if you guys have tried Amazon, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Someone has some thoughts on Section 8 right here. LOL, bro. Good luck. Section 8. Watching your vids. I know how you be with some people. LOL. But yeah, Section 8 is definitely something I want to try it, but I have a feeling you're going to be dealing with some characters, but it would be great content. I actually bought a Section 8 course. I just haven't like bought a property because I realized you need like $15,000, and I'm just going to have to keep on saving. Of course, when I get like 15 grand, it's tough right now because there's like a few things I always want to do with money. There's always like buying crypto right now. Crypto's at like, when crypto's under 90K, I can't help myself, but like buy a little bit more Bitcoin. I want to buy Bitcoin miners to like keep like expanding my Bitcoin mining operations. I want to buy more Turo cars. And then my garage at my house like has been broken since I bought this house. Like my garage door doesn't open. The floor, the concrete is all messed up. And I talked to a contractor. He wants 10K to fix it. So it's like, dude, whenever I like, get like 10, 15 grand on top of like emergency funds that I can like spend to expand, it's like, what do I do? Do I get into a whole new business of Section 8? Do I scale my Turo fleet? So I was like, you know what? I want to scale my Turo fleet to 10 cars. I want to fix my garage, kind of get that operation flowing, maybe even hire someone to help me, manage that fleet. And then I can get into Section 8. So I'm trying to focus on like one thing at a time a bit, but Section 8 in the next, like, I'm going to say by the end of this year, we're going to be at 5 Turo cars. By probably middle to like towards the end of next year, we'll be at 10. And then at that point, that's like when I really want to, start looking into Section 8, because I don't know if I want to get too much bigger than 10 Turo cars. Next, we are going to rank Robinhood. Obviously, on Robinhood, you can do long-term investing, you can buy crypto, you can do day trading. I'm pretty sure they even have the call sheet option on Robinhood where you can basically like gamble on like events that are taking place in real time. So for Robinhood, there's a ton of different things. It tends to kind of draw the riskier investor, especially with options. And personally, I don't have much money in Robinhood. I have maybe like $1,200 in my Robinhood account. I find it just like it's a great platform. I own their stock. I see a lot of like future in them because the younger, investors love the platform. And I kind of just put Robinhood there as a way to say like risky day trading. So that's what we're going to rate it on. But Robinhood as a platform, I think is pretty good. But I use the Robinhood logo to signify day trading. And if we're gonna rate it on day trading, I'm gonna put it in F tier. There's statistics that 99% of day traders fail. And it's pretty much what I've seen. The only day traders that I see are successful are the ones selling courses or signals groups. And I don't think it's, really the best hustle because when I've been in those signals groups in the past, over the long term, I feel like most of them aren't profitable. Like probably like 70 to 75% of them are not profitable over the long term. And even if the signals group is giving you profitable signals, there's still a margin for error there. You could enter a little bit higher into like the option than like the person who made the call did, and you can end up losing a bit of money there. And I found it stressful. I like day trading a little bit when I was in school. When I was in high school, I kind of enjoyed it because there's not too many side hustles you can do on your phone while you're at school, but it kind of gave me a bit of adrenaline. But over the long term, I had a feeling I wasn't too profitable with it. I used to make some content about it. So that's kind of how I justified trying day trading because I was like, worst case, if I lose some money, I, educate people on the side hustle and I make a good video out of it. But if it was me and my time, I probably wouldn't suggest day trading, but it's definitely an interesting side hustle. I just don't think it's like the most profitable one. If you have 1 year to dedicate to one of these side hustles, I would not pick day trading. In fact, I would highly suggest against it. Next, we are going to be rating YouTube, but first I got to take a sip of water. Uh, Doing this live is tough. I am not too used to live streaming, but how are you guys feeling in the chat? Tropic, good to see you. Good to see you here, man. This is the guy who made the thumbnail. I was just talking about Tropic. I was telling you guys to DM Tropic because I want to do a video about his dropshipping business. How many sales are you up to in total on your store? Because he started it in January of this year, and it's already at like I want to say 600 to 700K in sales, but he's crushing it. I want to do a video, where he maybe not reveal the product at all, but he talks about his store a bit. Next, we are going to be ranking YouTube. Now, this is a side hustle I've personally been doing since I was 15 on this channel. So I started this channel in 2018 in April. I started the channel. I posted my first video in June, right after I finished my sophomore year of high school, or my freshman year of high school, actually. And at first, I didn't even want to show my face because I was like, I'm so young. No one's going to listen to my financial advice. I don't even know why I was trying to give financial advice. I quickly like pivoted away from that. So I eventually decided to just show my face and document like my side hustle and financial journey. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I love YouTube. I think about it every single day. It's like one of my like passions. So for that reason, I'm going to put it in S tier. The thing I will say about YouTube is it takes a long time to like be able to make it a profitable endeavor. It's not like the easiest side hustle for people to just get into and make money right away. For me, it took me about, I started my channel. I posted my first video in June of 2018. The channel wasn't monetized until August of 2019. At that point, I had posted over 100 videos on the channel. In August, I posted a video every single day in August of 2019. And I remember I was like, I want to get this channel monetized. I want to get into the flow of really taking YouTube seriously. And I remember in that first month in August, I got monetized towards the end of the month and I made $8. The next month in September, I made $113. And at that point, school had started. I was in my junior year of high school. So I started the channel sophomore year of high school in the summer. So my junior year of high school, I decided to post twice a week, but focus on quality. And this is when I did videos like selling iced coffee in front, or Graham Stephan's 20-cent iced coffee in front of Starbucks, doing videos like that, and doing online surveys, just more side hustle challenge videos. And in September, I made $113 off AdSense. In October, the next month, I made $280 off AdSense. That was the month I released the video. I sold candy at school for 1 week. And I remember I posted that video, and in the first month, it got 10,000 views. At the time, I had like 2,000 or 3,000 subs on my channel. So that was great. The next month, that video popped off. It got like a few 100,000 views. I had a video I did about online surveys that popped off. A video back in like August that I had made like over the summer, that when I was uploading daily about like best like money making methods for teenagers, that video popped off. It got like 600,000 views. And I remember I made $2,800 in 1 month in YouTube ad revenue in October when I was 17 years old. And I was like, I just turned 17 because in September I turned 17. And I was like, damn, this is so cool. And from that point, I took YouTube seriously. I've made a lot of money off YouTube over the years. It's a great side hustle. It just takes quite a bit of time to like be successful with it. And it's like a job on its own, right? So, and the coolest thing about YouTube is when you make videos about a topic you're passionate about. So like I film videos about me doing Turo, me trying side hustles, me doing things that I genuinely have a passion for. So I love it. It also gives you a lot of freedom. You could do a lot of different things on YouTube. So I'm going to put it up there if you're like willing to like do it for the like passion of it, because it's going to take a long time before you like really see a lot of money from it, but it's definitely worth it. And for people who are like, oh, YouTube in 2025 is so dead, like there's no way to make money off YouTube in 2025. People were saying that in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. There's people that come and go on YouTube all the time. So I'm going to say that right now, like you can definitely get in the game. It's still early in the grand scheme of things. I don't think YouTube is going anywhere for a long time. But enough about that. We're going to rank live streaming or Twitch next. Now, this is a tough one because I've heard on Twitch, it's really hard to build an organic audience. With YouTube, you have short form now where you can kind of get a lot of views organically. Even with long form, it does get pushed out if you make a great video or if you get lucky after posting quite a few. Whereas with Twitch, it's really hard to build an audience if you don't have one already. But if you use other platforms like TikTok or YouTube to like grow an audience on Twitch, the concept of live streaming seems awesome. Like I've heard people who average 100 or 200 concurrent viewers on Twitch, they're making like 10 grand a month if they stream a lot of hours. So it's a great side hustle. You can make money off like donations. You can make money off ads, which is like the main way Twitch streamers make money because you're getting a lot of view duration, even off a low amount of viewers. So I'm going to put it in C tier because you do want to build other platforms, but it is a great like space to get into, especially if you're making like really, really good content like IRL or like interesting, cool stuff like documenting my life live until I make 10K or something, like a really unique live stream, and you're making shorts and YouTube videos and TikToks about it, promoting the stream. You could blow up on Twitch if you go all in. I really do think that. So I'm going to put it in C tier, but it's a pretty good side hustle. It just has a high barrier to entry. Next, selling on Fiverr. I'm gonna put that in B tier. It's a really good side hustle. The thing is, there's quite a lot of competition from like third world countries, like people who are from like India, Pakistan, the countries where like for example, like $5 is like a lot of money to them because like, in Pakistan, like the cost of living is a lot lower. So they can charge a lot less for their services. So that does cause a lot of competition for like the American or people who are like providing services, or people from like Europe or Canada or even like maybe Mexico. I don't know, like countries where like the cost of living is higher. It's hard for them to charge as much because there is a lot of competition from like third world countries. But I will say I do know some sellers on Fiverr that do very well, especially if you can establish some sort of credibility behind yourself. Because I've noticed on Fiverr, you also kind of get what you pay for. If you pay someone $5 to edit and you pay someone $500 to edit a video, the $500 video is going to be significantly better. So it really depends on where you're at. When I'm like hiring people for my YouTube channel to like maybe do something for me, or if I'm working on a Shopify store and I hire someone, I tend to kind of go for that middle tier. So I'm usually paying like $200-300. But a lot of times I do notice I'm paying like someone from, Pakistan or India to do it, even though I'm paying them a good amount of money. It's like the best of the best out there. Whereas if you're paying someone $200 in the States, you might only be getting like an entry level person. So for that reason, I'm putting it in B tier. And I noticed there's a lot of comments saying, "Oh, why did you put Amazon in why did you put Amazon in B tier and Etsy in A tier?" Well, I have more experience with Amazon, so this is like my personal list as well. So I probably got to try more white label stuff with Amazon before I make a full decision about it. So that's kind of my reason for it. The only Amazon experience I have is the arbitrage stuff. And let me see if you guys have any other things before we move on. Someone else had a really interesting point. YouTube as a side hustle. It seems like it's a lot more work than that. YouTube is quite a lot of work. It's like a full-time job. But I will say, just like anything, if you put enough work into it, it's absolutely worth it. And for me, I love YouTube. I have to be, I can't be, I'm a little biased, but so I'm just going to say it right there. TikTok. Oh God, TikTok was goated in like 2020, 2021. I would put it in S or A tier all day. But I've noticed that TikTok, at least for me personally, has been causing me all types of chaos. Like, bro, TikTok banned my page for the longest period. They banned my page and it was gone for like over a month. And dude, they just started taking down a bunch of my old videos that I made in like 2020 and 2021. You could see I have a ton of like account warnings right here. I had a bunch of other videos that were taken down. A lot of them were like gambling related from like 2021, but at the time, I guess they weren't against TOS. And then they all got taken down like 4 years later. My page got banned. Eventually I got it back, but since I got it back, my views have just gone down a lot. And I'm kind of blaming TikTok for this, but I just feel like they're a terrible platform to deal with in terms of customer service. Like YouTube, in my opinion, is like, bruh, it is so much better in terms of like, if you have an issue, they're like willing to help than TikTok. Even Meta support is a pain in the ass. Like TikTok, Instagram has taken down my page in the past. Facebook like flagged my page for impersonation. So it's just like, I feel like the platform just feels less stable for creators. They also don't pay creators as much. You can make money off brand deals. In 2020, 2021, you could blow up quick. You might still be able to blow up a lot easier on TikTok than YouTube these days. But I just think that the way that the platforms treat you and the amount of money you make for the amount of views you get on TikTok is not great. So I'm going to put it all the way down in C tier. Of course, there's TikTok Shop, other methods, but dude, I don't know. I kind of have beef with TikTok. I'm not going to lie. So we're going to put it in C tier. It's like my least favorite platform. I think Instagram and YouTube are a lot better. I like Instagram Reels for the fact that you never have to worry about a video getting taken down. I don't even make content that's like controversial or like stuff that gets censored, but it's weird. Like if I say certain stuff or like, like if I talk about like a vape vending machine, if I talk about, gambling or something, even as a joke, it would get flagged on TikTok and take it down immediately. So I just don't like the lack of like stuff you're allowed to say on TikTok. I think it's just kind of annoying. So for that reason, I rank it kind of low compared to a lot of other social media platforms. Next, collecting cans and bottles. Now we're going to make this one a little bit bigger because it's kind of hard to see. I think this is a perfect one for the homeless tier. And the reason for that is in the homeless, when you're homeless, you kind of see a lot of those people collecting cans and bottles. At my house in Milwaukee, I remember walking out of my house into the alleyway one morning when I was taking the dog for a walk, and I saw a homeless guy going through my recycling bin, taking all the cans and bottles out and putting them into a plastic bag. And that's how he was getting money, because in Wisconsin, you get like 10 cents per plastic bottle or glass bottle. And in other states, you might get like 25 cents or 15 cents, or in some states, they don't pay anything at all. And in Germany or in Europe, it's called like, or in Germany, it's called Fund, which is like, guess their way of like what you get for like, returning plastic bottles or glass bottles. And you get like way more money out there. You get like $1 or 50 cents per can or glass bottle, which is quite significantly more. So when I went to Germany, I was visiting my sister, and I kind of did a whole day trip where I collected a ton of glass bottles, cans, and stuff. And I noticed out in like Europe and Germany, you see a lot less of them because people actually get money for returning them, or they get more money than they would in the States. So it seems like you don't get as many out there, but you get more for each one. But it was kind of a fun one to try. I didn't make a ton of money. I don't remember exactly. I'll link the video in the description where I try it. But it's a homeless side hustle. If you need money and you're on the streets and you need 20 bucks in a single day and you want to combine it with a couple other random side hustles if you're homeless, hey, it's got no barrier to entry. All you got to do is get a plastic bag, fill it up with cans, bring it to the dump, and they'll pay you. So that's what I would do. Next, we got a funny one here. Pyramid scheme. Ooh, Bernie Madoff action. Now, if you guys don't know what a pyramid scheme is, it's named after a guy who it's named after Charles Ponzi, I believe. He started the first ever Ponzi scheme. And this is basically where you have like a front company. Let's say I say, oh, I'm going to start an exotic rental business. And for everyone who invests, I can pay them 10% cash on cash return paid out every single month. And, it's usually some unrealistic thing like that where, you're promising crazy returns on a front business that you never end up doing. So you're just collecting money. It's totally illegal, by the way. I'm just kind of adding this in as like a satire side hustle. But you're basically, let's say, I tell you guys, I'm like a huge scam artist. And I say, hey, everyone invest into my exotic rental business. And I get a bunch of people, and I'd never buy any exotic rental cars, or maybe I buy my own Ferrari for me personally, and then I just pay out money with new funds from new investors. And then eventually a pyramid scheme collapses. One of the most famous and largest pyramid schemes is Bernie Madoff. Totally illegal. He was sentenced to like probably, I don't even know, but like insane amounts of prison time. He was like 70 years old and he got like 50 years in prison, and he ended up dying there. Brutal. You don't want to do a pyramid scheme. So that's why it's at the way bottom. Never try it. I just thought it would be a funny one to add into the tier list. Now, speaking of which, another thing that a lot of people compare to a pyramid scheme is MLM. Now, MLMs come in a lot of different forms, but pretty much, you'll see it in the insurance space. You'll see it in the solar panel door knocking space. I had some friends who one of my friends, he went to GCU, which is a for-profit Christian university. It's a for-profit college, which I always found was kind of weird. I would personally never go to a for-profit college. But while he was at the college, he met some people who did door-to-door sales for solar. And they said, oh, I make all this money going door-to-door. I sell solar panels. And he decided to join it. So he got into it. He sold a couple. He made a little bit of money. This one of my friends is like a very good talker. He's a very personable guy. So he had quite a lot of success with it at first. And he eventually, got one of my other friends who was working in manufacturing at the time to move down to Arizona and sell solar panels. At this same time, I dropped out of college. So I was like, okay, I'll move in with you guys in Arizona. So they went out and did door-to-door sales. And I, obviously did YouTube and other side hustles like Turo in Arizona. And I lived with them down there for a minute. And I noticed pretty quickly that this side hustle wasn't nearly, or side hustle or business venture wasn't nearly as good as a lot of people say it is. And because most of the people that get into it completely fail. You also have to a lot of times pay to get into an MLM. So with things like Amway or with like the insurance MLM schemes, you have to like pay to get licensed, and you're basically paying to join the company to maybe make money from commissions. And another weird thing about it is you're also getting money from the people below you. So for my friend, for example, he recruited one of my other friends to come out to Arizona and do door knocking. So now when he sold, my other friend would get a commission of any sales that he got. So they did this for months, and it ended up being where over time they just stopped getting any sales. And it wasn't great. It was not a great end. One of my friends ended up homeless in Arizona. He moved back home and became successful as a car salesman, and he's doing well now, but he was homeless for a month in Arizona after he, tried to come out, do door-to-door sales. I moved to Austin. My other friend moved back home, and it was not great. So same with like the insurance stuff you see today. Like I hate to call people out, but oh gosh, I'm gonna do it. Screw it. There's this one guy, Aaron Grant. He used to do videos about drop shipping, And he used to do all types of content about like drop shipping, e-com. He was pretty successful with it. And now you'll see him posting on his Instagram about like, oh, you could become an insurance salesman and work for me. And basically that stuff's all in MLM. Most people who are in it aren't successful. Same with like what Patrick Bet-David used to do with his insurance company. Like, you could look into it, but most of the salesmen make no money whatsoever. Only the few people at the top. Same with all the Forex stuff. That's all in MLM. It's a really bad rap. Like, for the most part, you're not going to make any money whatsoever in an MLM, but just because it's not illegal and because a few people make money, I'm going to put it in F tier. It's pretty much the last thing you want to get into. It's not a great business whatsoever. Avoid MLMs at all cost. And for those of you who don't know, MLM stands for multi-level marketing. Next, we are going to talk about SMMA, social media marketing, or as Brez Scales calls it, I think he says like it's called, what does he call? Brand scaling or something. It's basically the same thing as social media marketing. He just has like a cool name for it. But this is basically where, you're running advertisements for a business or a local company to help get more clients. And a lot of times you're specializing in like a specific service. Like, you're helping pool cleaners get more clients. You're helping a bar owner get more customers. You're making TikToks for them. You're doing marketing for them. You're getting more people to know about their business, more people in the door. I think this is a good business overall. It's funny. I actually had a little bit of a social media marketing agency after being inspired by Iman Gadzhi back when I was like 16 years old. Now, at the time, I had like no experience, and I ended up kind of finding a little bit of my niche in a social media marketing business where I was basically helping podcast course sellers. That's how niche it was. I was looking at people who were selling courses on like these like course platforms, and I was like reaching out to them by email. Hey, I could help you get more customers by running Facebook ads, or, having a Facebook page for you guys. And I got 2 clients, and I was making about, I think, $2,000 a month so $1,000 a month from each client. And I did that for a little bit. I wasn't too good at Facebook ads, so I ended up kind of stopping that business and focusing on like other things like YouTube or when I was doing phone reselling at the time. But I think it's a really good business, especially like once you get some experience and like going viral on social media or like understanding a bit about it, you can make quite a bit of money, and you only need a few clients. And if you're doing a great job for them, maybe even take on a few clients for free or for cheap in the beginning to like get some experience. I'm gonna put it in like, dude, I'm gonna put it in S tier. That might surprise you guys, but I think it's a good business. Just to think of, if you think about it like this, all you need is 3 clients paying you $2,000 a month, and you're making really good money. Like, it's a great service, and especially if you kind of harness your skill and learn some stuff, it's a great way to go from 0 to $5,000 per month relatively quickly. So I'd 100% rank it pretty highly. It's a business that can change your life relatively quickly. There's a lot of people who like sell courses on it. I wouldn't buy any courses, especially more than like a couple $100. I'm going to be honest. I've bought very few courses in my life, and the best courses I've bought were honestly pretty cheap. So if you ever, get coerced into doing something like that, usually I'd avoid it. The next thing we are going to be ranking on the list, I'm pretty sure we haven't talked about this one. I'm pretty sure I touched on this one earlier, but Section 8 housing. Now, I kind of talked about this. I think it's a great business. I did a video with this guy in Miami. His name is Tom Cruise Section 8. And he makes $1 million a month from his Section 8 rentals. He has 700 low-income properties, making $1.3 million a month net. He had like a $20 million house in Miami, one of the richest people I've ever seen. You need some money to get into Section 8. But again, I'm going to put it in S tier because this is kind of like my long-term plan to get rich. Bruh, I think Section 8, I think it's a great method. I even did a video with this guy, Kareem. He bought a Bugatti off Section 8. Now, I of course, I don't know. I can't confirm 100% that these people are legit, but based on what I've seen, Section 8 seems like a great business. There's some downsides. You're going to deal with some interesting characters, but it's something I definitely want to do in my lifetime. Like, this is a side hustle I'm urging to do. I just need a little bit more money. I'm not like balling enough to where I could just like invest in real estate yet, but Section 8, I'm going to put it in S tier by Airbnb. It has to do with real estate. These are kind of like my long-term get rich businesses, I would say, is these 4 up here. Next, I put an image of Ty Lopez. And speaking of Ponzi schemes, he's in a little bit of a class action lawsuit himself. But by Ty Lopez, I just mean people who are selling courses on the internet, people who are selling digital products. And I'm not fully against digital products as a whole. I've personally never sold a course. But I don't think that they're fully a scam. I've bought courses in my life, but you got to be very careful with them. And I think it can give people a pretty bad reputation. You're going to want some type of audience and credibility if you're selling a course, or at least a really good, like, thing that you're selling. So I'm going to put it in C tier. I just have never really, I always cringe when people sell courses, but it is a good way to make money. And if you're, selling something for $100 and you're teaching people how to make $1,000 to $5,000 on average, then it's probably a decent course. And I bought courses that I thought were very helpful. Like I bought a Turo course I thought was helpful. One time I spent $2,500 for a YouTube course, and I actually got a video idea from that course that made me $30,000. So I would say that course was worth it. That course was from Andre Geek. So I'll say some courses are worth it, but for the most part, there's just so many bad actors. I want to put it in C tier. Next, dark web. Now I had a whole dark web series. I went into the dark web quite a bit in the past. I'm going to have to put it in homeless tier because it's illegal. Probably most of the stuff on the dark web is illegal, but I did a video with this guy who's like a professional credit card scammer in Canada. And pretty much what he was doing is he was like buying credit card info from the dark web and then like buying items and like creating duped cards even. And one guy even from Australia, or, I can't say exactly where he's from, I guess, New Zealand, maybe. He showed me live on camera as he was like carding. And I was like, bro, that's actually insane. Totally illegal. You can go to jail for a long time for that. But it was definitely like an interesting documentary series I did. That's why I want to include it on the tier list. But obviously, never try anything illegal. You don't want to spend your life in jail. Life is way too long to ever go to jail, in my opinion. So that's why I put it in homeless tier. But I think it's kind of a funny one. Next, we're going to put WAG, dog walking. Now, this is a side hustle I tried quite a bit last summer. I love dogs. I thought it would be interesting to try WAG. Honestly, after my experience with it, I'm going to put it in D tier. The problem with it is a lot of the customers I got for WAG were like a few miles away from my house, where I had to drive like 10 or 15 minutes to go walk a dog for 30 minutes. And you're only getting paid for the dog walk. You're not getting paid for the commute, the gas, the travel back and forth. So I don't know. I don't think the dog walking business is that good. Maybe some dog sitting on WAG might be nice, but I already have a dog at my house. So like if I was dog sitting a dog, it'd be kind of annoying because you know how dogs get when they have another dog in the house, they get all, crazy and stuff. So I think it'd be fine if I didn't have a dog. Maybe I'd do a side hustle of like doing some dog sitting for people. But with that said, I don't think it's that good. Like, I think it's a true side hustle. You're going to make a little bit of extra money, but it definitely should not be your main focus for a business. And I don't even know if side hustle tier list is the best tier title for this. It should maybe be business tier list. But aside from that, I call everything a side hustle, and you guys know that. Next, Apple product reselling. So this is one of the first businesses I ever started. It goes back to the origin of this channel. When I was like 15 years old, I learned from this guy, Kish Israni, and he did a video where he talked about, reselling phones, flipping phones. And he talked about how he was able to, build a full-time income after graduating college, making, a few $1,000s a month, being self-employed, reselling phones. And what he'd do is he'd post ads on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, offer up saying, I pay cash for Apple products. People would reach out to him with stuff to sell, and he would, go on eBay sold listings, see how much it's selling for, and then offer that person $50 to like $100 less for the device than what he knew he could resell it for. I've done this business over and over and over again throughout the years. It literally has not changed. Just the prices of electronics and the types of electronics has changed. Technology is always changing, but the resale game with it has not changed very much. So I've done well with it. I'm going to put it in A tier. This is something that's close to my heart. If I went broke, or like if I needed to like make a side hustle to like earn money from and a few $1,000s per month quick, I would be reselling phones. The reason I don't do it as much anymore is, again, I personally just hate driving. I hate sitting in traffic. I hate going to the north side of Milwaukee, going to the ghetto, because that's where a lot of your best phone deals are going to be. So the last video I did, I remember I went to like the hood like multiple times a day for like a few days in a row. And I was just like, brah, I'm making a few $100 a day doing this, but like all this driving is kind of a distraction from the other hustles I'm doing. And I don't know if I could really do this consistently because there's only so much time in the day, right? So it's a good hustle. But again, you're trading your time for money, but it's pretty lucrative, honestly. And you could combine a few of these, right? You could be a iPhone reseller / Turo host / sell on eBay. That's the life, dude. I would way rather make my money from side hustles than any type of 9-to-5 job. I'm saying this because freedom is everything in this life. Like, dude, I know so many people who hate their job. They hate going to work every day. And I would way rather be kind of like a side quest connoisseur where you're like making money from different things. Even if you're not making as much as someone from a job, at least you're free, right? You're controlling your time in some sense. Of course, you got to make money, but you're choosing when you're making money. So that's at least my opinion. I love the aspect of just like in this like new modern age, you can make money from side hustles versus having to have a job. And for me, that's so important because I know for me, I don't like being told what to do. And, phone reselling is a great way to do that. Next, we are going to rank vending machines. Now, this includes the vape vending business. This includes, a drink snack vending business, any type of vending machine, a pizza vending machine. All of these businesses are great. Because of that, I'm going to put it in A tier. Snack vending on its own, I would put in B or C tier just because the margins are really low. Like I just remembered I got to go to my school. I got to go to the school vending and service that vending machine because I haven't done it in like 2 weeks. So I got to go there, restock a bunch of stuff probably tomorrow because today is already Wednesday. So I got to do it before the end of the week. And realistically, I'm making like $100, maybe to $200 a trip. So like $100 a week from the location. I spent $6,000 on those two machines. I had another location that I spent $3,500 on that was making about, $600 to $800 a month in revenue, $300 to $400 a month in profit. So it's a decent business, but again, you're driving out, you're servicing machines. So snack vending on its own isn't great, but vape vending, there's crazy margins if you find creative vending machines like a pizza vending machine, stuff that's a little bit higher ticket, higher margin, where you can maybe only service it every month or every couple weeks, like with vape vending. I think it's a great business. It kind of appeals to the passive income side of things. So it really depends on what you do, what you kind of get into. But I would say vape vending is an A tier, but you got to be careful with it. Just like with Turo, if you buy the wrong cars, you won't make money. If you buy the wrong phones, if you pay too much, you're not going to make money. With vending, if you get bad locations, you're not going to make that much money. Like my school vending machine, my contract is up like end of this year to early next year, I think. And I think at that point I might sell it and buy another Turo car just to kind of consolidate things. And vape vending's banned in my state, which I think is kind of annoying. So, yeah, I'd give it like an A- vending overall. Next, Bitcoin mining. All right. So Bitcoin mining. This is a very good side hustle. Of course, you can also buy Bitcoin. You can, go to JP's hosting facility. He's got like a ton of machines there. He's at 13 locations in Iowa now. I think they're at 13 or 14 different locations in Iowa. And I'm going to do an update video on my Bitcoin miners very soon. That's going to be next week. I'm working on a ton of videos, by the way. I'm going to be posting a lot very soon. I apologize for the delay, but yeah, I'm going to do an update on my Bitcoin miners. It's been decent. My machines have gotten a lot less profitable post halving. And also my machines are older now. They're 2.5 years old at this point. So they're not quite as profitable as they used to be. But if you buy newer machines, it's still very profitable. I believe in Bitcoin long-term. But again, you can also buy Bitcoin yourself. So I'm going to put it in B tier because, again, it depends on your electricity rates. The hosting facility option is sick because for me, at the hosting facility in Iowa, all he does is upcharge the electricity rates. So he gets the electricity at like 4 cents a kilowatt, and he charges me 6.5 cents per kilowatt. No hosting fee, no additional fees like that. So I'm kind of like paying a cheap electrical rate as it is, since at my house, my electricity rate is 17 cents per kilowatt. So I'm getting a huge discount. He's making some money. So that's why I'm kind of like, I think Bitcoin mining is pretty W. It's a good business model. It's a great way to like dollar cost average into Bitcoin over time. But you have the halving and machines become less profitable over time. They depreciate. They're great for tax write-offs. So if you have a business where you're making a lot of money from, but you want like some tax write-offs at the end of the year, you can like invest into Bitcoin miners and depreciate like the full value in 1 year through like, one of the tax sections. So it's like a good tax play. It's a good investment. Similar to Turo, you can do that with certain cars as well. So I'm going to put it in B tier just because you can also buy Bitcoin. But there's advantages to both. Because I did the math. If I would have bought Bitcoin at the same time that I bought my miners, I would have made more money buying Bitcoin. But if I would have bought, miners at like the peak price, I probably would have made more money mining. So I kind of got lucky timing the market when I bought the miners, I guess. So that's why I put it in B tier. So yeah, next one, flipping cars. Now, this is a side hustle my brother does all the time. This is his main side hustle. He's a mechanic, so he already has experience in fixing cars and that kind of stuff. So you'll see him all the time. He tells me, oh, I bought this car for like $1,000. It doesn't drive. He specializes in like old 1980s cars. Like he's very into like classic vehicles. It's like a passion of his. It always has been. Like his first car was a Volkswagen bus from like the 1970s. He currently has a 1970s Volkswagen bus. He has a Bel Air. He has a lot of like old, he has some old Rabbit pickups. He loves old Volkswagen Golfs from like the 1980s. He's really into like a lot of those old cars, and that's kind of like where he specializes in reselling them. He doesn't make a ton of money, but it's like a great side hustle for him. But of course, you're going to need some mechanical knowledge. And for that reason, I'm going to put it in C tier because a lot of these side hustles in C tier, Twitch, selling courses even, and reselling cars. Those are all things that you're going to need a little bit of like knowledge to get into. But if you have the right skill set, great business, in my opinion. We flipped a car. We bought a Subaru Forester with that needed a new engine. So we bought the Forester that needed a new engine for like $2K. We bought the new engine for $3K and then sold the car for like $8,000 to $9,000 in the end. So we made like several $1,000s in profit. And he does that quite frequently. Like he specializes in like engine repair. But of course, he's like a talented mechanic as it is. The next one we're going to do is affiliate marketing. I'm going to put it in S tier. I'm going to put it in S tier, chat. Affiliate marketing is goated. This is a great way to make money off social media. If you're like early on, if you write articles, it's a great way to make money. And I could give you guys some examples. Like with Shopify, for example, if you refer someone that, starts a business and like actually uses Shopify for like 3 months and like, starts using it, you get $150 per conversion. There's a lot of other ones like insurances, all types of affiliate marketing that you could like make really good money from, even credit card offers. So you could start like a YouTube channel about, best credit cards for 2026 or best credit cards for entrepreneurs or best credit cards for people who love traveling. And you could write articles about it. And those affiliate links can really help you monetize, when you're just making free content for people to enjoy. And what I really like about affiliate marketing is it's like a way to make money without like, really like necessarily even selling stuff to people. Like you're kind of like, for example, if you're showing people how to start Turo, they're going to need an LLC anyway. You could do an affiliate link for that. Let's say if they're starting Turo, they're going to need insurance for their car anyway. You could do an affiliate link for that. I don't do a ton of affiliate marketing. I probably should do more, but I think it's like a great way to like monetize stuff when you're providing a free resource for people. So I've always been a fan of the business. There's so many companies that make huge incomes off affiliate marketing, like any travel agency, like Hotwire, all those like travel agencies make money off affiliate marketing. There's so many businesses that are like very intertwined with like affiliate stuff that you'd be surprised by. Even like a software company, you could make a free software showing people like a free software resource that has affiliate. I've even seen people do free courses where, the course is free, but you got to use, or the course is free, but you could use the affiliate resources for, the specific things that you're going to need when you're starting a business or when you're doing stuff for the course. So I think it's like a great way to monetize without like necessarily like being super salesy. So I'm going to put affiliate marketing in S tier. And then for software, there's a lot of like crazy opportunities in the software game. And nowadays with ChatGPT, you can like use ChatGPT to code, which I think is so sick. Like you can literally code with ChatGPT and like help it build you a software. And I think there's a lot of opportunity in that. Like I know someone who started a software that was basically for tracking your dividends, and he ended up like exiting it for like quite a lot of money. I probably can't say how much, but yeah, it was like a software for that. And I was like, bro, that is insane. Like so sick. And I don't know. I think it's a great opportunity, especially as we keep moving into like the digital age. It's something that I think is a great opportunity if you have like a good idea. And nowadays with like ChatGPT and stuff, you could use that to code and problem solve yourself, teach yourself to code, find a programming nerd at your local college or at your local high school to like partner with on the business. I think software is like a huge opportunity. There's like so many cool softwares that I find myself like wanting to use, like AI stuff. I think it's a very good opportunity. So let me know what you guys think about the tier list. We're going to answer some questions. We've been live for an hour. I hope you guys hopefully agree with my tier list. Is Airbnb good? I think it's pretty good. I put it in S tier. Creator Fund pays pretty badly. Yes, I agree. It's tough. Let's see if we got any comments from you guys. If you guys have any questions for me, if you disagree with any of my takes, leave it in the chat down below. And I'm very interested to see what you guys have to say. What do you guys have to say? LOL, the Forex scheme. They had a certain community in shambles. Bro, are you guys like trying to get me in trouble, bro? Come on. Do you make millions on YouTube? No, I have not made, I don't think I've made $1 million off YouTube actually in total. I've made off YouTube in total, I don't know, probably like 600,000 to be honest, probably like 600,000. And I've done YouTube I started in 2018, 7 years, but a lot of that has been in like 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. What about counter gambling? Oh, someone said, what about counter gambling? That's an interesting one, like starting your own online casino. Now that I would probably put in like B or A tier or C tier because, you know, it takes a lot of money to start your own online casino. That's like the huge downside of it, but it is like very lucrative because we all know the house always wins. Also, one thing I always found interesting is if you ever see like native reservations, why do they always have casinos? Like they always get casinos because it's like an easy way to make money. I wonder what they think about like the rise of online gambling. It probably eats into their market share. Same with like Vegas. That's not a native reservation, obviously, but it's like I feel like they're probably mad about the online gambling game because it eats into their market share of casinos. Because for the longest time in the United States, only native reservations could like have casinos. I always wondered that. I'm like, dude, it's so interesting. Like, oh, no, counter gambling is when you abuse free rewards from casinos. I did a video on that, like arbitrage betting, counter gambling. I think it's decent. It's a good way to make money. It depends on what state you're in, what kind of bonuses they have. But yeah, I've done videos about it. It's a good way to make a few $1,000s. My favorite way is just taking the bonuses. I'm not too huge of a fan of the arbitrage betting. Like it's good, but you're going to get like 3 to 5% margins. I can't get too much into it since online gambling's banned in my state, which is like quite annoying. I wish it wasn't. But yeah, guys, for the rest of the day today, for the rest of the day today, I have to like do quite a bit of work when it comes to looking for a Turo car because we're going to be buying a 5th Turo car for yeah, so I'm gonna be looking for a 5th Turo car, and that's gonna be very interesting. Hopefully that video will be dropping like Monday next week. I went and visited my brother, so that's why we had a little bit of a delay on uploads. Thanksgiving and then visiting my brother, we had a little bit of a delay on uploads. But someone said I've made over $100,000 from arbitrage betting and stuff like that. That's actually insane. Good for you, bro. That's awesome. But with that said, we're looking for a Turo car priced under $15,000 since I am kind of right now I'm looking for a Turo car to like add to the fleet, a 5th car, looking for something used priced under 15K, ideally 7 to 8,000, but I am willing to raise the budget a little bit more because we're trying to like find a car that we're trying to find a car that like would be like good for even the winter in Milwaukee, because I think like an SUV might not be the worst decision. Like this CRV right here, it's priced at $14,000. It has 92,000 miles on the odometer. It's at a dealership though, so but it's only a one owner and it's well maintained. This is definitely a car that I think I'd be interested in. So I'm looking for a fifth Turo car under 15K. If it's a sedan, I'm looking at it between like 6 and 8,000, even $5,000 to $8,000 would be great, like right under Turo requirements. But if it's like an SUV, I am willing to pay a little bit more since I know SUVs are quite a bit more expensive. But before we get too much more into that, I want to see if you guys have any other comments on the tier list whatsoever. It seems like you guys seem to mostly agree with it, but someone said, go Volkswagen again. Bro, I love Volkswagen. I think I'm just biased. I think VWs are like the best vehicles to buy for Turo. Just get snow tires. Yeah, you could get a sedan. My sedans rent completely fine, but I do think getting SUVs for Turo isn't a terrible idea. Car. So I'm going to message this person. Is this car still for sale? If so, I'd love to come check it out soon. It's at a dealership though, so like all right. So that's a potential Turo car. I also found this 2018 Mazda 3. This seems like a good potential vehicle, but it was listed 3 weeks ago. Is this car still for sale? So yeah, it looks like this would be a pretty good vehicle. He said asking 9,500 no lowball offers or trades. It's available now. Serious buyers earning. Oh, rebuilt title. We cannot buy it because it's a rebuilt title. Almost wasted my time messaging this guy. Is this a rebuilt title? This is a clean title. Oh, dude, 181,000 miles though. That's not going to work. We're looking for cars under 130 since that's Turo's requirements. This is a 2009. It's too old. Damn. We're looking for the newest first. A lot of bad cars here. But let's see what the chat has to say. Interesting. SUVs are a good option for renting. I agree. Look up gas stations. I own 1030. Okay. I don't want to dox you, bro, but that's sweet that you own a gas station. 2013 Mazda 3 Touring. Oh, this wouldn't be a bad car. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This one looks like a pretty sick car. This Mazda 3 would be a decent car to buy. It was listed 8 hours ago in South Milwaukee. Car still available. I am definitely interested in coming to check it out. I live in Milwaukee. Could probably come by tomorrow. Cool. I just hit the guy up. We're trying to get another Turo car here soon. I'm trying to get like a couple really good options. So we got that 2013 Mazda 3, 2016 Land Rover Sport. This car definitely has some issues. I'm not going to buy a Range Rover. That's like asking for problems. We got to put the price up to like 5,000 or 4,000. Newest first, 2016 Equinox. I don't want an Altima. A 2009 Venza. That's too old. A 200,000 miles. That's not going to work. But yeah, guys, I'm pretty much going to be spending my day looking for some Turo cars. Hopefully we're able to buy something. I found another one right here that might be good. Is this car still for sale? I am interested in coming to check it out. So we have 3 options already. I'm not too big of a fan of the 2 at the dealership. But yeah, guys, there's a lot of potential here. Dude, we could get a Porsche, but it's too old, unfortunately, for Turo. 1 year older, 1 year newer, and it would be good. There's a lot of potential options, but I don't want to bore you guys with the stream. Oh, I forgot that I wasn't even screen recording here, but sorry about that, guys. I'm sorry about that. I wasn't screen recording, but I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. If you did, drop a like on it. And I will be back with another video, hopefully Monday. Very, very soon. We're going to be posting more content. I apologize for the delay, but hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Comment down below what you agree with or not. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.